Have you ever had that nagging feeling that someone is lying to you, but you just can't put your finger on it? Maybe you sensed something was off in a conversation, but couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was. It's a frustrating experience, right? Well, there's a way to uncover the truth through the questions that liars and manipulators ask. Sounds simple, but these questions are calculated tactics designed to shift control in their favor without you even realizing it. In fact, the questions they ask can reveal everything you need to know about their true intentions. Liars don't always act in dramatic ways. They don't have to. Sometimes, they just ask the right questions to make you doubt yourself, lower your defenses, and shift the focus away from the real issue. Whether it's in your relationships, your workplace, or even casual conversations, manipulators use these clever tricks to twist the truth and control the narrative. In this video, we'll dive into 5 specific questions that manipulators use to gain control over you. And the best part is, once you know what these questions are, you'll be able to spot them instantly. You'll have the tools to protect yourself from manipulation and deception in your everyday interactions. By the end of this video, you'll not only recognize these questions, but also understand how to respond to them so you never get caught in their trap again. Think of these 5 questions as the layers of a deceptive onion. Peel them away, and you'll uncover the truth beneath the surface. So, stick with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal could change the way you interact with others forever. Let's get started with the first question that manipulators love to ask. You've probably heard this before, right? Don't you trust me? It's one of the most common questions used by liars, but why do they ask it? At first glance, it might seem like a simple question about trust, but in reality, it's a sneaky tactic designed to manipulate your emotions and shift the blame onto you. When someone asks, "Don't you trust me?" it's not really about whether or not they've earned your trust. It's a strategic move to make you feel guilty for questioning them in the first place. It's like a kid caught in a lie, suddenly flipping the blame onto you by asking, "Don't you believe me?" instead of explaining the empty cookie jar or the missing homework. The goal is to deflect, confuse, and put the pressure on you so you back off and stop probing. When a manipulator asks, "Don't you trust me?" they often get defensive. They might cross their arms, raise their voice, or act overly emotional, almost as if you're the one doing something wrong by questioning them. Instead of addressing the actual issue, they try to make you feel guilty for even bringing it up. Their body language will often betray them, eyes darting, posture becoming closed off, or they might even lean in aggressively, creating an uncomfortable power dynamic. The real purpose behind this question is to disarm you emotionally, making you question your own instincts and second-guess your concerns. By doing this, they sidestep the actual issue at hand and take control of the conversation. Psychologically, this question hits hard. It puts you in a position where you feel like you're attacking someone's character. And who wants to do that? Especially if that person is important to you. No one wants to admit they don't trust someone, so answering no feels uncomfortable and unnatural. It creates a sense of guilt, like you're breaking a social contract just by asking for clarification. That emotional pull is what manipulators rely on. They're counting on you to back down because you don't want to feel like the bad guy. They want you to apologize for questioning their behavior instead of addressing the actual situation. Let's look at some real-life examples where this question might pop up. Imagine your partner comes home late and doesn't give a clear explanation. When you ask where they've been, they respond with, "Don't you trust me?" Now, instead of discussing their actions, the conversation shifts to your supposed lack of trust, making you feel guilty for even asking. Or, think about a colleague who's consistently late on deadlines. You bring it up, and they counter with, "Don't you trust that I'll get it done?" In both cases, the issue at hand isn't being addressed. The focus is shifted onto your feelings of distrust, and suddenly you're the one on the defensive. It doesn't stop there. A friend who repeatedly borrows money without repaying may say, "What? Don't you trust me now?" when you hesitate to lend them more. Here, the manipulation is clear. They're not concerned with the fact that they owe you money. They're making you feel guilty for questioning their character. This tactic works because it sidesteps responsibility. Instead of explaining themselves or their actions, they make you question your own judgment, leaving you with the emotional weight of doubting someone you care about. So, how should you handle this question when it's used against you? The key is to focus on the facts and not get swept up in the emotional manipulation. Instead of feeling guilty for questioning them, try saying something like, "This is about this situation, not about trust." Or you could say, "I'm just asking for clarity on what happened." These responses bring the conversation back to the facts and prevent you from falling into the trap of defending your trust in someone, which is what they want. By keeping the focus on the issue at hand, you take away their power to make you feel guilty. The real power comes from awareness. Once you recognize that "don't you trust me" is not a genuine question, but rather a manipulation tactic, you can remain grounded and protect your boundaries. You no longer have to feel pressured into backing down or apologizing for asking questions that are completely reasonable. Understanding that this question is a manipulation move helps you maintain your integrity and stay in control of the conversation. So, the next time someone asks you, "Don't you trust me?" remember that it's not about trust. It's about taking back control of the situation and staying true to your instincts. The next question manipulative people love to ask is, "Why would I lie about that?" It sounds so innocent, right? They ask it in such a way that it makes you second-guess your own suspicions. But that's exactly the point. This question is designed to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, making you think, maybe they really don't have any reason to lie. It's a clever trick that takes the focus away from their actions and puts it on your judgment. By asking you this question, they're not really offering an explanation. They're making you question your own instincts, and by doing so, they deflect the conversation from the truth. This question works because it's meant to appear completely transparent. When someone asks, "Why would I lie about that?" they're presenting themselves as an open book, as if there's no way they could possibly deceive you. This gives them an air of honesty, even though the situation may not add up at all. It tricks you into thinking they're telling the truth, even when their story doesn't make sense. It's like a magician distracting you with a flashy move, while they perform the real trick right under your nose. The person asking this question is hoping you'll become so focused on their perceived honesty that you stop questioning the inconsistencies in their story. Liars often ask this question right after they've been questioned about something suspicious. It's almost like a defensive reflex. They may get overly calm, almost too calm, as if they're trying to convince you that they're completely unbothered by the situation. Or on the flip side, they might get overly defensive, raising their voice or putting up a wall, as if you've accused them of something terrible. Either way, they're trying to shift the focus from their behavior to how you're supposedly misunderstanding the situation. They want you to feel like the one who's being unreasonable, not them. Let's look at some real-life scenarios to understand how this works. Imagine you're shopping for a new phone, and the salesperson says, "Why would I lie about that?" When you ask if the phone is really worth the price, they're trying to manipulate you into thinking they have no reason to mislead you, so you're more likely to make an impulsive decision and buy the phone. In relationships, a partner who's caught in a lie may use the same tactic, asking, "Why would I lie about that?" when you question their whereabouts or their behavior. Instead of explaining their actions, they try to make you doubt your own feelings and thoughts, shifting the blame onto you for not trusting them. So, how do you handle this? When someone asks, "Why would I lie about that?" it's important to stay calm and not get swept up in their deflection. Instead of letting the question derail the conversation, focus on the facts. A good response could be something like, "I'm not questioning your intentions. I'm just trying to understand the facts." Or, "I'm seeking clarity, not making accusations." This brings the conversation back to the issue at hand and prevents you from getting sidetracked by their emotional manipulation. By staying focused on the situation, you avoid getting caught in their game of misdirection. The key here is not to let this question trick you into thinking that their honesty is beyond reproach. Recognizing it for what it is, a tactic to make you doubt yourself, will help you stay grounded. Remember, just because someone asks, "Why would I lie about that?" doesn't mean they're being truthful. It's simply a deflection to take attention away from their actions. By keeping your focus on the facts and your own instincts, you can protect yourself from falling into their trap. Now let's talk about something that feels a little more personal. Can you keep a secret? This question may seem innocent at first, but it's actually a clever manipulation tactic. The person asking it is not really concerned about your ability to keep a secret. They're trying to create a false sense of intimacy between you and them. When they ask this, it's less about discretion and more about testing your boundaries. They want to see how much control they can gain over you by pulling you into their web of secrecy. The reason this question is so dangerous is that it puts you in a tricky position. When someone asks you to keep a secret, it's easy to feel like you have no choice but to agree. You might feel obligated to protect whatever information they're sharing with you, even if it could potentially harm others or compromise your integrity. By asking you to keep a secret, they're trying to put pressure on you to withhold important details, and that can create a wedge between you and the people who matter to you. It can even cause unnecessary tension or mistrust in your other relationships if you end up hiding things that you shouldn't be keeping to yourself. Liars and manipulators often emphasize the exclusivity of the information they're sharing with you. They'll say things like, "This is just between us," or "I trust you with this," to make you feel special or valued. They want to create a bond with you, one that is based on secrecy. It's like they're offering you a place in their inner circle, but only if you agree to hold on to their secrets. The problem is, by accepting this invitation into their private world, you might unknowingly be taking on a responsibility that could backfire later. You might be protecting something that you should not be protecting, which can hurt you and others in the long run. Let's think about some real-life examples of how this plays out. A coworker may approach you with, "Can you keep a secret?" followed by gossip about someone in the office. They might want to drag you into their drama and make you feel like you're part of the group. Or a friend could be spreading rumors and they might ask you to keep quiet about what you've heard, making you feel like you're betraying their trust if you don't comply. Even in personal relationships, A partner may ask you to keep their infidelity a secret, forcing you into a position where you're hiding the truth from others. In all of these cases, the person asking you to keep a secret is trying to manipulate you into becoming an accomplice, making you feel responsible for something that may not align with your values or best interests. So, how should you handle this situation? It's important to set clear boundaries. Good response to someone asking you to keep a secret could be something like, "I value honesty in my relationships," or "I prefer not to be put in the position of keeping secrets." This shows that you're not willing to compromise your integrity or put yourself in a situation where you could be manipulated. By saying no to secrets, you're protecting yourself and your relationships from the potential damage that secrecy can cause. Setting boundaries is key when it comes to dealing with manipulative questions like this. You should never feel pressured to agree to something that goes against your values or could create tension in your relationships. Being firm about what you will and won't tolerate helps you maintain your own peace of mind and ensures that you're not being dragged into situations that could lead to guilt or regret later on. It's okay to say no, and it's important to protect your loyalty and trust in relationships by not letting someone manipulate you into becoming part of their deceitful behavior. In the end, asking someone to keep a secret is not about trusting them, it's about controlling them. Recognizing this manipulation tactic helps you stay strong and confident in your boundaries. Trust is built on openness and honesty, not secrecy. So, the next time someone asks you, "Can you keep a secret?" remember to trust your instincts, keep your integrity intact, and don't let anyone manipulate your relationships for their own gain. When someone asks, "Who told you that?" it's time to pay close attention. This question might sound innocent, but it's often a manipulative tactic used to control the flow of information. The person asking doesn't really care about your source. They're trying to figure out who told you, so they can intimidate or silence that person. It's not about curiosity. It's about gaining control over what you know and where you got that knowledge from. By asking this question, they're attempting to shift the focus away from their own actions and put the spotlight on you and your source, as if you've done something wrong just for having the information. The behavior of the person asking this question is often a key indicator that they're trying to manipulate the situation. When they ask, "Who told you that?" it's not likely to be asked casually. In fact, it's often said with a tone of aggression, as if they're trying to intimidate you into revealing your source. The idea is to make you feel uneasy about where you got the information, making you second-guess whether you should even be discussing it. This is a classic manipulation tactic, where the focus shifts from the issue at hand to your source, which can throw you off course and make you feel guilty for knowing or sharing the truth. Psychologically, this question is meant to make you feel as though you've done something wrong by having the information. It's designed to make you question your own actions, even though you're simply responding to the truth. It's a clever way to distract from the real issue, which is the person's behavior, and instead put the attention on you. You might start to feel defensive or guilty for revealing something that was shared with you, even if it was important for you to know. This shift in focus can make it more difficult to address the problem, as you might end up focusing on the question itself rather than on the facts. Let's look at some real-life examples. Imagine a manager who's trying to shut down gossip in the office. When someone confronts them about a rumor or a piece of information, they might ask, "Who told you that?" The goal here isn't to address the truth of the rumor, but to intimidate the person sharing it and discourage further conversation. In a relationship, you might have a partner who asks this question when you confront them about something suspicious. Instead of addressing their actions, they'll try to focus on who you heard it from, putting the blame on your source rather than on their behavior. Or perhaps a friend is trying to control the narrative of a situation and asks, "Who told you that?" to downplay the truth and shift the attention away from what really matters. So, how should you handle this manipulative question? The key is to stay focused on the truth and not let the person control the conversation. A good response might be, "That's not relevant to the discussion," or "The truth is more important than who told me." These answers shift the focus back to the issue at hand, which is their behavior or the facts, rather than trying to point the finger at your source. By maintaining your stance and not allowing them to derail the conversation, you assert control over the situation and keep things on track. Preserving your boundaries in situations like this is crucial. When someone asks, "Who told you that?" they're attempting to control the flow of information and put you in a defensive position. It's important to remember that the information you have is valid, and there's no reason to feel guilty or pressured about where you got it. Stay grounded in the facts, and don't let the manipulator shift the focus away from the truth. Doing so, you protect yourself from being drawn into their web of control and manipulation, and you can address the real issue with clarity and confidence. The final manipulative question on our list is one that's often used to make you question your own memory. Don't you remember? You've probably heard this before, and if you have, you might have felt a bit uncertain afterward, unsure if your memory was right. That's exactly what the manipulator wants. This question is a classic gaslighting tactic, designed to make you doubt your own perception of reality. The person asking this is trying to rewrite history in their favor, subtly making you believe that your recollection of events is flawed, or even that you're misremembering things completely. It's all about control and manipulation, and it can leave you feeling disoriented and confused. The reason this question works so effectively is because it triggers cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort you feel when two conflicting ideas or beliefs exist at the same time. In this case, your memory and the manipulator's version of events conflict, and when they ask, "Don't you remember?" they plant a seed of doubt in your mind. You start to wonder if your memory is faulty. It creates internal tension as your brain tries to reconcile the two versions of what happened, your version and theirs. This makes you second-guess yourself, even though your memory may be perfectly fine. Manipulators often use this question with such absolute certainty that it's hard not to feel unsure of yourself. They'll present their version of events with confidence, sometimes even adding little details to make their story seem more credible. This tactic is designed to make you feel like you're the one who's wrong, even when you're not. It's a clever way of shifting the responsibility onto you and avoiding accountability for their actions. The manipulator knows that if they can make you question your own memory, they can control the narrative and avoid facing any consequences for their behavior. There are plenty of real-life examples where this question comes into play. For instance, a partner might say, "Don't you remember agreeing to this way?" when you have no recollection of such a conversation. This makes you feel confused and starts to make you doubt your own memory. A colleague might deny a mistake they made, asking, "Don't you remember me telling you about that?" trying to shift the blame away from themselves and onto you. Or, a friend might change the details of a conversation you had, saying, "Don't You remember what I said? You agreed to it. In these situations, the manipulator uses your own memories against you to make you feel like you're the one who's wrong, which can be emotionally exhausting and disorienting. So, how should you handle this question? A good response might be, "That's not how I remember it, but let's focus on the facts." This helps redirect the conversation back to what's actually important, rather than getting lost in a debate about memory. You might also say, "Let's review what we know instead of debating memory," which can help both parties agree on what's really important, without getting caught up in a memory dispute. The goal is to keep the conversation grounded in the truth, not on who remembers what. This way, you stay focused on the facts rather than allowing the manipulator to control the conversation by casting doubt on your recollections. It's important to trust your own perception and your memory in these situations. Just because someone asks, "Don't you remember?" doesn't mean you should automatically second-guess yourself. Trust your instincts, and don't allow someone to manipulate your reality. If you're confident in your recollection of events, stand firm in that confidence. Manipulators rely on your self-doubt to get away with their lies. So the more you trust your perception, the harder it will be for them to succeed. Always keep the conversation focused on what is actually true, not on their attempt to distort the facts to fit their narrative. We've covered the 5 questions liars often use to manipulate your thoughts and emotions. Don't you trust me? Yogi, why would I lie about that? Can you keep a secret? Who told you that, and don't you remember? These questions may seem innocent at first, but now you know that they are powerful tactics designed to make you doubt yourself and your judgment. Recognizing these questions is the first step in protecting yourself from manipulation. Awareness gives you the power to see through these tactics and maintain control over your own thoughts and emotions. Now that you're equipped with this knowledge, you can confidently identify when someone is trying to manipulate you. Whether it's in a relationship, at work, or in any other part of your life, you have the tools to stand your ground. I encourage you to share your own experiences with manipulation in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation and learn from each other. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use this knowledge too. Stay tuned for more insights on how to protect yourself from manipulative behavior. You won't believe the next manipulative tactic we'll uncover. Click to watch the next video and keep your defenses strong.